Welcome back. We're on part two of episode 87 of Smack Talk, and it's time to talk about the weekly hot tag topics. Got a couple pretty important ones and a couple, kind of quick reference things. But let's start off with some sad news. Matt Osborne, otherwise known as Matt Bourne, or perhaps obviously best known as one of the people who has played Doink the Clown, has passed away this week. He was basically just a part of the independent scene for God knows how long. I mean, when did Doink really get out of WWE? Maybe there was like
I don't think he ever
96?
did.
Well, they never really had Doink like as a
And,
regular anymore after
and
like
then after a
95 or
while,
something, right?
he was also
After
portrayed
his,
by other people,
Yeah,
not
it was
just
like
Matt.
95.
after his feud with the King, I think. Then they
No,
just
that was in 93. He was there for a while after that. It
He
was
was
like
there in
95.
98.
Well, he made one-off appearances here and there, but his last like full-time run was, I think it was mid 95. I think he made it to SummerSlam. I'll look that up.
I know it was past WrestleMania 9 because he had that match with Crush, and he was a heel then. But I don't know.
and he had a feud with Big Boss Man as well. I remember that. He was looking for some hard times.
He wrestled his final televised match in September 1995 to Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Well, after that, he went through the independent scene, and as mentioned before, the Doink the Clown character continued to make appearances here and there, sometimes played by different characters and all that. So obviously, that's disappointing whenever you hear that a wrestler's died. I don't really know what the cause of death was yet. Does anybody know?
He liked to party.
Last I had checked, there wasn't any information on it.
The whoopee cushion flu. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know if any information has
Twitch has
been
opened
released
up
so
a
far.
homicide investigation.
Dink finally had enough.
Dink, fucking dink.
Wait,
Let's move on to a happy one. Natalya and Tyson Kidd were recently married, and there's talk that maybe they eloped together, had a marriage, and then had a fake marriage for the Total Divas show, which is just stupid. But it's a long time coming. They've been apparently dating since fucking, I don't know, 1976 or some shit. Like, so of course, congratulations to those two. Hopefully, it's totally different from most wrestling marriages that we hear about in the negative sense. And best wishes from Smark Out Moment. Anybody have anything to talk about when it comes to that?
What I
Tyson
want to know
Kidd-
is which one of them
Everyone.
is not going to be on the road anymore. Because that's the way
Tyson
it always
Kidd.
ends up. You don't have both people in a couple on the road. We saw Maurice leave. We saw McCool leave. Which one of them is going to leave?
Tyson Kidd, I hope. Then they
Oh,
should
yeah.
get divorced, and then Natalia should come marry me.
Yeah.
Damn you, kid!
We need
Damn.
Natalia around so she could do those
I
great
give them
Divas
my
Talk segments.
I give
I
them my
was kind
utmost
of surprised Tyson Kidd
congratulations.
was over with the Great Khali thing.
But yeah, that might conflict her on-screen personality, right? She's supposed to be dancing with Kali, but I feel bad for them since they're going to be featured on an episode of that Total Diva show or whatever. Isn't their wedding going to be a part of like the first season of that show?
Yeah.
They seem to be promoting that.
Do you
My
think-
condolences to that.
Do you think when she walks down the aisle, all you hear is do 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 do? She comes in with the glasses and the fake Bret Hart hair.
Well, the way
No,
the way that they're advertising this fucking show with the Bella Twins being the entire focal point, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like, and the maid of honor. I actually have two maid of honors, and it's the Bella Twins, and they just come out.
my
Because they,
condolences.
yeah, and then
And then
Tyson
they-
Kidd has John Cena and Daniel Bryan as his best men, and like,
And then the
It's
Bellas
fucking
feud
awful.
with one another, on main event for the chance to catch Natalia's bouquet.
yeah, you don't fucking say it, dude. They're gonna do it. Don't fucking do it. I swear to God.
You know what? Great minds, Tony. Great minds.
Austin Piano Man's been looking at past episodes and pointing out all the instances where we were like, oh, this will fucking happen, and then it does.
Yo, speaking of, how about we resurrected Hardcore Holly's career, who is making an appearance at a TNA pay-per-view? I believe it is this evening.
Yay!
Woo!
You
we
owe
really
us-
saved his career.
You owe us Bob for.
Yeah, we talk about him. He suddenly has a book coming out, and he's making appearances on TNA.
And what did you hear about Bob Court before we made him a one-night spectacle?
One night spectacle.
He was a pretty cool guy from what I've heard.
And he's got an awesome tap now.
Does he?
Well,
No,
speaking of TNA, we got two hot tags about TNA here. First is
Ugh.
the Knockouts Tag Team Championship has been retired. It's about fucking time, isn't it?
Nobody
yeah,
cares.
me-
Next.
It was a useless title.
I can't believe they
Hey,
had it for
hey,
that
you know
long.
what?
I mean,
Such awesome wrestlers as Eric Young and ODB
Yeah.
held that title. Okay, that's
did Eric
prestigious.
Young retire? Did Eric Young retire as the last half of the Knockouts Tag Champs?
No,
I hope so.
In a ultimate fashion, he would have defended the title at WrestleMania against The Rock and John Cena, but he gave the title back to Brooke Hogan and stated in his awesome promo, "I'm not a woman."
Is that really
Just
how it
found out.
happened?
Well, he is
That
I
a
think they took a long pause for that.
It was awesome, Tony. You know, he's a star. He's a bona fide star. You think Henry's promo was awesome? My God, it hit me right here.
Anyways,
Yeah.
easily the best tag team titles in all of wrestling. The most
Thank
cherished,
you, Eric.
well coveted ones.
Thank you, Eric Young.
Knockouts tag team champ.
Let's just be thankful that such a worthless championship is retired. As if they
Hey,
need
hey,
more
hey,
than
hey,
one female belt. Really, it'd be like.
And Mickey James
Could
is
you-
an awesome female champion.
Could you imagine the WWE doing the Divas Tag Team Championship? We think it's bad now. Holy fuck! What would they do with those belts?
Given the
How about the
Bella
same way
twins
for
and then
TNA?
No, you know what they would
insults
do?
afterward?
You know what they would do? They would give the tag titles to John Cena and The Rock. That's what needs to happen. John
Well, they
Cena
are
and The
two
Rock for
biggest
Divas
divas on the
champion.
roster.
Sure, they wouldn't
So it
give it
makes
to
sense.
Triple H and
There.
McMahon.
Oh, Tony, there you go. Booking. We need to have it.
No, McMahon Helmsley hold the.
No,
Not
no.
even-
Obviously, the best people for the Divas tag titles would have been Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe.
Oh, in evening gown.
The real Americans.
Yes.
Is their tag team finisher the reach around?
Oh God.
I had to.
Oh.
There goes my career in WWE. Another TNA thing to talk about. Actually, a couple things to mention here. A bunch of releases that they've just gotten rid of.
No. Anybody
Um,
important?
Yeah, a couple people that actually had
Crimson.
some kind of a purpose to them. Madison Rayne being one of them. Now,
Ooh.
granted, she's pregnant, so that obviously must have been like the main reason for it. There hasn't been a whole lot of talk about whether or not she requested her release or if they just went like, look, you're pregnant, you're not going to come back in a while, so we're going to let you go and come back whenever you can or anything like that. But she was like their best knockout from my point of view.
Well, supposedly, she ran on the rant about the knockouts on her Twitter at one point.
Well, hopefully
She
if
was
she
trying to create drama. Set up feuds, Jeff.
if she decides that she wants to go back into wrestling, I would love for her to go to WWE.
You know what she should do? Just let's shoot off the hip booking. She should partner up with her baby in a match against Snitsky and Relic. Think about it.
They lost another knockout with Taeler Hendrix.
Oh.
I don't really know too much about, but
Oh, she was
Don't know
that
who
really
it is.
pretty redhead who went through gut check.
Yeah, let me
National Guard
clarify
Redheads.
this with Payton as well. She was on one gut check match and then disappeared from existence.
I know. No, they brought her
Dang.
back for like a random
Oh
match
god, China.
one night when they brought back all the random gut check people that you never saw. She was back once, but that's it.
what's the point?
Well, I guess
Um,
they just didn't work out for them. I mean, all these people have been sitting doing almost nothing in OVW, and I hear a lot of people complaining, well, what was the point of bringing these people in the first place? They just didn't work out. They probably shouldn't have done these tryouts on TV,
Mhm.
but hey, they're trying something new, right?
Joey
And,
Ryan.
Check still kind of failed.
Joey Ryan's another one, and he was a huge focal point of Gut Check. He was almost like the entire purpose of Gut Check, it seemed.
And he had a killer porn stash.
It's even better than Cody's porn stash.
He made Cody's porn stash look like a toddler.
Yeah.
But they gave him quite a bit of focus, and then just dropped the ball with that.
Last I
Just-
saw, he was a referee. So
Yeah, he was
who
refereeing a
cares?
knockouts match.
Really? Last time I
Really?
heard he was trying to team with Matt Morgan.
No, they ended that after they botched like going for the tag titles. It's ridiculous. You know, in terms of anyone, I think he had the most potential, just because the fact they were pushing him to the moon. But yeah, TNA. This is TNA we're talking about. Nothing they do makes sense.
Christian
You
York
like
is
being
another
with
one.
Natalya?
Oh no, Christian. Well, hopefully Christian can come back to WWE now.
Christian York. If you want to talk about anybody that I feel it makes perfect sense they got released, Christian York's one of them. I had never paid any attention to him before, and I mean it's kind of hard to say I didn't notice him being gone because I don't watch Impact, but at the same time nobody ever talks about Christian York, so
I
Was he
talk about
involved with
Christian
Gut
York.
Check too?
I think he was a part of Gut Check, wasn't he?
He
Yeah.
was.
Everybody's just. That's like the kiss of death. It's just if you're involved in Gut Check, you're getting your ass is getting released.
Well,
No,
there was
being in TNA is a kiss of death.
There was a rumor that Sam Shaw from Gut Check was released too, but now there's backpedaling on that.
Yeah.
The only other person is Crimson, and they put a shit ton of focus on Crimson after that whole undefeated streak and all that. So I don't know. To me, this is one of those things where if you're going to put that kind of a storyline on somebody, and this goes for WWE too, they can't be fucking acting like, well, it didn't work out and all that other kind of stuff, which is going to kind of tie us into the next hot tag. There's been a story going around online that Vince sees no money in a quote-unquote 6'3", 250-pound star. At first, before that was clarified, people were thinking that it was Daniel Bryan. Mostly because Shawn Michaels was the one having the conversation. I don't know why that would necessarily make sense. I think everybody just kind of jumped to Daniel Bryan because, you know, he's like an internet darling and everything. But I would think that this means Ryback. And tying in with the Crimson thing, if you don't think that there's any money in somebody, don't give them a fucking undefeated streak. That's the same argument that everybody keeps bringing up when they go, well, who should beat The Undertaker? Well, it's somebody who should really deserve it and use it and all that other kind of stuff. And people were talking about Ted DiBiase and all that. And I would always argue against it and say Ted DiBiase should not beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania. He's not going to be that big of a star. And look where he is now. So that's why I would, in that situation, never book that kind of a thing. And if you're looking at TNA and WWE and they're going, well, we don't really know much about this Crimson guy, how he's going to really work out, or we don't really think that Ryback's going to catch on, don't give him a fucking undefeated streak, because then it makes the whole thing pointless.
Well, to clarify on the Ted DiBiase thing, Tony, he came from money, he came from cash, and ladies loved him for what he got, okay? Now, going on to this Crimson situation here, I understand that they kind of fell out of favour with everybody, and most of this was because of the fact that he had a guaranteed contract, meaning that he was one of the few people in TNA that was actually getting paid even if he didn't appear. Hence the reason why they let him go. Apparently there's a whole load of BS going on in OVW as well. Apparently someone in OVW is stealing money from TNA. Don't know who.
What money?
Exactly.
I heard that they can't even pay their town anymore again.
Yeah, they're like 2 weeks behind on paying people as well. It's ridiculous. It's $1 billion company. They're messing around. In terms of this whole talk thing, I'm going to call out a few websites: WNZ, WrestleZone, and all the other shitty little sites that sit there and they jump to their guns, even though 13 hours later they still didn't post a retraction, even though Shawn Michaels had posted it on his Twitter that this wasn't about Bryan. They kept leaving it on there, hoping to gain a bit of a buzz, thinking that it's Bryan and Vince doesn't like him and yada, yada, yada. Even the WWE at the moment are poking fun at it by having Vince come on TV all the time saying Bryan's too small.
Well, in the midst of the biggest push of his career.
Yeah, everyone's noticing that. And the fact is, with this whole situation, people need to stop jumping their guns and reporting false information before they know the whole story. You know, and if you don't know the whole story, ask Shawn Michaels. He's got a bloody Twitter account. He's very accessible. People ask him every day about certain questions, and he answers them. He doesn't have an issue with it. In terms of Ryback, the reason why he's not bankable anymore is because he got buried. They buried him. They might as well have put him against Triple H.
Yeah.
The guy was losing every single main event match he's ever been in, and now look at the current freaking status of his star power. The
Cryback.
guy
Cryback.
lost. Yeah, he lost a match to The Miz. The Miz
It was a forfeit.
By
but
forfeit.
continue.
by forfeit.
I think that's actually the absolute worst way to lose. Forfeit means you just quit.
Yeah. Yes. Because he's Cryback.
Exactly.
Is it bad that I didn't really see much in him before he started to get buried?
No, because everyone thought he was Goldberg. Remember that.
Well, I didn't think he could work longer than 5 minutes. Maybe this was their way of having an excuse to just drop him like a rock, because he can't, for the life of him, work a match that's longer than 5 minutes and pushing somebody's head into the mat 3,000 times and dropping them with a shell shock. I mean, you got to do more than that. One big boot to a guy's chest. Oh, he's certainly limited, and his career is showing it.
Well, there's
Bad.
only one other hot tag left to talk about, and that is Ricardo Rodriguez was suspended for a wellness policy violation. And the rumor going around right now is that it was because of fat burners.
What?
Yeah, the thing is, the WWE are on their high horse about this, and I understand the reason behind it. Fat burners tend to elevate your heart rate, and it has been known to be associated with things like heart attacks, hence the reason why it's on their blacklist, and they don't want people taking these things.
Yeah, that makes sense, actually, now I'm thinking about it. So, Burhan, good job. You should be a medic someday.
Thank you.
Why you call them why are you calling them on their high horse then? That sounds completely like a legitimate thing to not want their talent to take.
From the other side of the podium here, the things are available everywhere. You can get them off the counter. You can basically, you don't need prescriptions for them. They're not the same as it like purchasing steroids and stuff like that. But as I said, I can understand both sides of the argument on this, because the results that you get with them, especially being on the road 24/7 and not being able to frequent gyms as much, you can still make sure that you're lean enough as long as you're taking them in moderation. But again, I can see why they're going that route. It's quite bad for Ricardo at the moment, because he was in like the whole feud with Ziggler alongside Augusto Rio, but I don't see this as hurting him as a performer.
Well, he's not 6'3", is he?
No.
All right, well then he won't be that 6'3", 250-pound star person that Vince McMahon sees no money in.
We don't need to use them.
You know who is about 6'3"? Samoa
Me.
Joe.
Yeah, but we're talking 250.
Yeah, he's about
Oh.
300.
He's about 5'20".
350.
All right, guys, those are the weekly hot tags. Next up in part 3, we're going to talk some Doink the Clown. Is he better as a heel or as a